Hi, I'm Florence Ion. I am consumer tech reporter here at Gizmodo, and I'm joined by my editor, deputy consumer tech editor, Michelle Earhart.
Hi,
Hello,
Flo.
Michelle. So, Michelle, behind me, you might notice something that is maybe you've encountered it recently, and that is what a chat looks like between an Android user and an iPhone user.
Ah,
Yes.
yes, the green text bubbles.
Not quite behind me yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
will say that this week we've been talking a lot about this because Google has launched an all new campaign, hashtag get the message. It's all about letting people know that it's Apple's fault that Apples and Androids can't just get along. So,
Truly the most important social cause of our time.
the most important, oh my God, so important. There was a Daria episode about it. It's part of the lost episodes. It was
There
foretold even back in the
was?
early 2000s. No, I,
Was
I
Android a
wish,
thing?
I wish. Well, so we didn't, unfortunately, because of Samsung madness this week. I'm holding here the Fold 4. We are unable to get to this in a nice little story. So we're here now, kind of discussing this campaign that came out because it's it's the catalyst of, I would say, about a year's worth of kvetching on Google's side
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that Apple does not support RCS in its iMessage suite.
So they've taken out this website, android.com/get the message, and they were trying to turn it into like a whole campaign where suddenly it's like it's us, the people's chance to do Google's marketing for it.
Yes. We, the people, are going to do Google's marketing, and we're only going to do it on Twitter because I'll tell you, if you go to TikTok or Instagram, I can find very little semblance of this existing.
Mhm. Well, anytime a company tries to, like, create a hashtag like this, it always feels like they're trying to make fetch happen, you know? So how are they what is the content of the website? How are they trying to make it happen this time?
So far, the website is just this one website that shows you all the ways that Apple causes Android users to not have a full experience when they're getting an iMessage. Tells you all about the fact that you are, yes, a green bubble if you're texting. And that green bubble, by the way, very hard to read on, as one of
Mhm.
the points made. Also, low res images and video. That's definitely a thing. No encrypted messaging from end to the other end. And so it's it's all things that we knew,
So, assuming I know nothing about this, what
assuming you know nothing.
is SMS or MMS versus RCS, and why does this matter?
I can only speak about it theoretically because what it does is if you have it, it just enables high res like texting is essentially what you
Mm.
can think about it as. When if Michelle sends me something from her iPhone to whatever Android phone I'm like wielding, if it's an image, Michelle, or actually if it's a video that you send me, it's going to be very low bit rate. I'm not going to really understand what's going on in it. I won't be able to see like full faces of people. I'll just see sort of like a very compressed situation coming through. Not to mention, Apple is just kind of known for keeping things proprietary between its platform, which is why we all lovingly refer to it as a, giant walled garden.
Because when I text other people on iMessage, like iPhone to iPhone, it's fine.
Hmm.
I don't get any
Hmm.
compression. The bubbles are all nice and blue and easy to read. It's only when I bring Androids into the equation.
I'm sorry that I've chosen this path relative
It's
to you.
fine. I'll save this for a little bit later, but to be honest, I don't use the standard texting system that much as compared to other apps, and I don't think I'm alone in that, which then makes this whole campaign even more interesting.
I do want to talk about that, but before we talk about that, I want to mention very quickly some of the celebs that were tasked to read the ad of hashtag get the message because I know they're reading. I can see them both reading off of the screen in front of them. You would think that as actresses that they would be very good at this. No, no, no.
Yeah, when
So
I
one
think of people who hate iPhones, I think of Hollywood actors and actresses.
So one of them is, and I completely blanked on her name, but she plays Cheryl on Riverdale. So anybody who's watched Riverdale on the CW will know who I'm talking about. And she did one of like the big advertising campaigns, and pretty much you see it on Twitter and Instagram, but you don't really see it past her
Real big
page.
names here.
I mean, I guess she's a big name compared to this Gen Z. I want to say this is very much a Gen Z ploy, which is why
Mm-hmm.
they went for the actress who plays Cheryl. They also went. They had Vanessa Hudgens be a part of this.
Okay.
Vanessa Hudgens, but hasn't really done anything very significant since High School Musical. I'm sorry, Vanessa
But
Hudgens, but
Flo, she, her, the Android community, we're all in this together.
well, it's interesting because what they had is they had them talk about how they are sorry for being on iPhone and how they're sorry for their Android counterparts. It's just a very like I get this messaging campaign. I kind of saw the writing was on the wall way back. I don't know if you remember, but I think back in January of this year, 2022, Hiroshi Lockheimer, who is the VP of Android and its related platforms, he actually tweeted about how all Apple had to do was like add RCS and it would make all of this go away.
Mm-hmm.
And so this campaign we're seeing now is very much a continuation of like those beginnings, that little blueprint that they put out of this is what we're going to go for to kind of get Apple to adopt this. But I don't know if the campaign's working beyond Twitter.
I don't know what Apple's incentive is to do this. I also don't like Twitter. We actually published a story on Gizmodo.com recently saying, like you said, this was a Gen Z ploy. We published a story about the metrics for which social platforms Gen Z tends to congregate on. It's not Twitter. I mean, everyone knows TikTok, but also YouTube is still the number one thing. And this type of thing isn't going to grab YouTubers at all, I think. I also think a lot of like Gen Z kids and even myself, especially people in our profession, use third party messaging apps. With my partner, I use Line. With sources and stuff, I use Signal. With my high school friends, I use Facebook, which isn't encrypted, but whatever. And you know, a lot of people use WhatsApp, which is also from the same parent company as
Mm-hmm.
Facebook now, but it's supposedly got encryption. I don't trust anything from Meta, but
But we use what people are on, and
Mhm.
I too, as an Android user, evolved the way that I message with people. I also use WhatsApp and Signal. I also still, by the way, use Google Chat because the few
Mhm.
people that I talk to on Hangouts back when it was, now we're all on the chat portion of it. And, we have Gmail, so it's part of that. And not to mention Instagram too, actually, has become a big
Mhm.
messenger for me. I DM people when I'm trying to like put a message out to them instead of texting.
Meta just really has a grasp on a bunch of the messaging things. And when
Hmm.
I say I don't trust them, I sort of just say they have a history of not being 100% great with privacy related things.
Oh yeah, not to mention the headline that came out this week. I believe it was this week about what Facebook handed over, Meta handed
Mhm.
over to implicate a young woman who went and got an abortion. So it's like, oh my goodness, all
That's
these
a
things.
That's not great, but that is a
No.
great opportunity to point our viewers towards Gizmodo.com, where you can read all sorts of stories like that, as well as Flo's story on this new Google campaign.
Yeah. So, I, Michelle, do you think that this is gonna work? Because, I could do my part in explaining to my friends, and I have many times explained to my besties, like, I'm so sorry, you need to send this to me again on Instagram because I'm not gonna get what
Hmm.
is happening in this. I can barely hear that you are in a tropical environment right now.
I think if Apple's going to make any sort of change, it's not going to be because of shaming from the Android community. I think
That's
it's
what I
going to be uh, because of not shaming, pleading from the iPhone community or some higher up partner decision that's made cloak and dagger behind closed doors for reasons beyond our mortal
Mhm.
comprehension.
Mhm. Plus, I could just see this backfiring completely, especially amongst the Gen Zers, which apparently, because there was that WSJ article that came out a while back about how children and teenagers were left out of their social circles because they had an Android device. I don't know how much more that applies in this year, 2022, with everything that we've been going through as a
Hmm.
society. I don't know how much precedence messaging takes like it used to.
Definitely in the post-pandemic era, people have a lot of ways to get in touch with each
That's
other
what I mean.
aside from the
Mhm,
messaging apps on their
mhm.
phones.
So I don't know if this is gonna change things. Until then, I guess what we can do is offer a list of alternatives for people who want
Mhm.
something that plays nicely
I
and,
want more people to use Line, so I have an excuse to
to use all the
justify buying
stickers.
sticker packs.
Yes, yes, I know, I know. I'm there with you. I have Line right here. I have, like, 3 friends on there that I talk to. Excuse me, Telegram is what I'm looking at, actually. Line is on another side of the
Gosh, there's
dock.
so many of these.
See? If you need to get a hold of somebody, there is a way.
Mhm. You could also just call them with your voice.
Yeah.
Old
Some
school.
friends still allow that. Some friends are okay with you calling them.
Wow.
I know. I know.
I had dinner with friends recently, and I was just shocked at how much I enjoyed, like, actual human conversation.
I know. I know.
But
And it doesn't matter if I'm a green bubble and you're not because we're still having convos. We're still connecting.
well, speaking of conversation, it's been nice chatting with you, Flo.
It's been nice chatting, Michelle. I'll be sure to send you a line message after this.
In the meantime, I will look forward to reading your full article about this on gizmodo.com.
That's right.
Bye, everyone.